Hi, I'm Bert Nussbaumer from macrobeat.co.uk. A week of records really, with Nasdaq making new all-time highs, S&P making new all-time highs, euro dollar printing 120 for the first time since early 2018 when the dollar started to rally. So all record-breaking week in that regards. We still have the sort of US data that comes out, surprisingly strong. I would really have thought that the sort of fresh COVID mess that we have seen in the US would dampen the data somewhat, but we continue to see the shift of the EU versus US data surprise index shifting in favor of the US. So that's something quite interesting to see, and we look at it later in the slides. Further down, really, I'm kind of business-wise, I'm happy that August is behind us. It was a random, conflicting, strange kind of month as it usually is, and moving into September now. But obviously, there's a lot of challenges out there. We have the central banks that have to decide whether, some of them going to be following the Fed sort of mantra of average inflation targeting. We have governments that will be challenged to see how to manage the fallout in the economy on further fiscal stimulus. And last but not least, we obviously have a US election coming, which might be one like we have never seen before, at least the aftermath of it. And I have my big worries around that. But as a risk taker, you sometimes have to go to dark places to assess the tail risk. And hence not really want to talk about this in this forum, but if anyone wants to know my sort of worries around the election, just feel free to drop me a message. You see my email on my website. The first slide I have for you today is the euro dollar one. This is a chart I sent out on Monday to all my clients, and this is a suggestion to fade euro up there at the channel around 120. This formation that we see here is what we call a bear flag, or what's usually a reversal pattern. So 9 from 10 times you just don't see a continuation of the trend when we have a formation like this. So this made me sell euros up there. We have held the downside of it at 117.20 this week as well. So we haven't yet actually triggered the flag, but this current setup is still a risk that we might see some more dollar rally and euro dollar coming off a little bit more. We have ECB next week, maybe too early to expect them to already go into further stimulus, but we're gonna watch whether or not they're gonna revise the CPI lower. If they do, that would be definitely a sign that more stimulus is coming from the ECB. This could actually be the trigger that euro dollar is gonna have a quick 116.80, 115.50 move. Broader picture, I'm still a big dollar bear, but in the short term, I think this entire setup is just not a very comfortable one. The next slide, we have the dollar index. The arrow just shows the attempt to break 91.90. The next sort of important FIBO level. We failed, we rallied back, so far stuck at the mid daily Bollinger Band. In the current setup, I wouldn't really mind to test this 94.20, the breakout that we had in July. And just have to sort of test at 94.20, put it behind us before the dollar maybe starts to weaken again. The next slide, obviously the big headlines yesterday, all the tantrum around the new all-time highs in the Nasdaq, followed by a rather big move lower, same which we will see in the Dow in a minute. Reality is, yes, I'm overall being critical about this equity move. Yes, I may have sort of tried to pick it up on various occasions, but in the last few months, I just sort of gave it a pass and just wait for this to really properly turn. If you see this channel, we kind of know not much has happened yet, and I'm not sure if yesterday was just yet another one-day wonder, but we have to break this 11,575 to really see a potential break lower. The Dow on the next slide is pretty much the same picture, a big daily move, but in the bigger scheme of things, we have to break 2,800 really and close below there for me to really turn bearish again. Last but not least, gold is getting thin here. This big trend line 1918 coming right from the March lows. Gold has to soon start to push higher here, as otherwise we do really risk a bigger correction in gold. So watch 1918 going forward. Thank you very much indeed. Have a lovely weekend. Thank you.